Hello everybody, and welcome to another kind of split discussion slash list video, this time about Spiel des Jahres. For anybody who is unfamiliar, Spiel des Jahres is a kind of family of board game awards that are arguably the most coveted awards any board game can receive. It has been around for, I believe, about 15 years, but in its current form with multiple categories, it's only been around for like the last 5 or 6 or something like that. It has not been around for super long. Essentially, the sort of original Spiel des Jahres is the one I'm going to be talking about today, and that is games that are essentially family friendly but still have a little bit of meat on them to make them strategically interesting effectively. The other two categories are Kennerspiel des Jahres, which involve much deeper strategy, and those are going to be games that you'll see like Euro mechanics and things like that, a lot of worker placements, stuff along those lines, something that's much meatier and longer. And then last but not least, we have the Kinderspiel des Jahres games, which are ones that are primarily oriented towards kids and very much kid-friendly games with relatively simple mechanics, essentially. Like I said, though, I'm going to be talking about the sort of base award. All three of them are going to be announced as winners in either June or July. The Spiel as well as Kennerspiel are announced in July, and then Kinderspiel is announced in June. So I wanted to kind of go over the three nominees for Spiel des Jahres today so that you guys can get to know them a little bit better. I personally have not really played them, but at the same time, I do know a decent amount about them. I've talked about one of them fairly extensively before in one of my videos, and so I personally am hoping that it wins. That said, the three nominees are Cascadia, Scout, and Top 10. So Cascadia is the one that I've talked about in the past, and frankly, it's the one that I hope wins. This is a very heavy, well, not very heavy, but it's heavily themed in nature and trying to build up parks and this kind of stuff so that animals can live and thrive and prosper and be happy and all of that kind of stuff. Scout and Top 10 are both much more in the social realm of things, which is not bad by any means, don't get me wrong, but again, I personally have not really played them, and reading and watching some reviews about them, they just don't seem like my type of games personally. So Scout, the way it works, is relatively similar to Avalanche or Skip Bow or things like that, where you have cards that are in your hand. They have to remain in order, and the idea is that you're trying to place them down in a sequential value, a sequential order, or having, you know, larger values or longer streaks of cards and things along those lines. And then at the end, you can take high or low cards back to your hand. So it's strategic in the sense of you don't want to play really high cards too quickly because you want to make sure that you give yourself some room that you can grow and stuff like that. And again, it is a good strategic styling. It's a quick game to play and all of that kind of stuff, but it's just not for me personally. I am not a huge fan of those types of games. And Top 10 for me is even worse. This is very much reminiscent of things like Cards Against Humanity, Dixit, and those type of judging-based social games. And again, for me, I'm not a huge fan. This one is kind of interesting because it involves unicorns and their poop as the things, and I don't know, it just seems like a goofy game to have been nominated for Spiel des Jahres, but I'm not on the committee, nor do I expect I ever will be, so who am I to say anything? I mean, the fact is they got nominated, so go them. That said, the game itself is based off of the idea of everybody having cards that are some number between 1 and 10, and the idea is that the judge will get a card and it has some kind of a condition on it, and then everybody needs to answer that condition in a relative sense based off of the card that they have. Either they'll, you know, answer like this is the worst or the best, depending if they have a 1 or 10, or just kind of something in between. And that's sort of the idea, is that everybody has to agree that one thing is the worst or the best or something in between. And again, we see a lot of these styles of games. I'm personally just not a huge fan of them. I know a lot of people are. I know they are huge and make tons and tons of money and all this kind of stuff. And that said, I own some of them. I just don't really play them very much anymore. So from my perspective, I'm not a huge fan. And that's why for me, I'm hoping that Cascadia takes the top prize this year for Spiel des Jahres. I should say the original Spiel des Jahres, because for me, I love the theme. I love the mechanics. I love that it doesn't go to the kind of silly place and super easy and basic mechanics type of thing. It keeps things interesting. It keeps things unique and different every time you play and all of that kind of stuff. So for me, that's what I personally think. Now that said, again, this is just one of several major categories for the awards. So we're going to talk about more of them later on. But that said, as always, hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Of course, please let me know anything and everything in the comments below. I will say there were other titles that were considered for this, namely Seven Wonders Architects was the one that really jumped out for me because I'm a huge fan of Seven Wonders, and I'm honestly really surprised that anything beat out top 10, but again, that's my bias very, very much coming through. So yeah, like I said, please let me know anything you all think in the comments. Of course, if you haven't done so already, please take a look at my social media pages where you can interact with myself and my channel. And that said, thanks so much, take care, and I will see you next time.